Hi everyone, this is Jebro. Today we're talking about Bugg, one of the new heroes coming along with a new game called Crucible from Relentless Studios, Amazon Games. Let's go over his abilities. Well, before we do that, he's a little robot, okay? He's a Botany robot. He's a gardener, which is his basic description, and he's been upgraded and whatnot, and he's questioning life, and he's going out there and he's slaying, basically, and he does a damn good job of it. He can also support allies, heal, and offer a shield, as well as do a lot of damage as well. He's a great all-rounder. And yeah, Crucible's got this kind of emphasis on making sure that heroes aren't specifically for one role. You can play them any way you want to. But yeah, I play him in a multitude of different ways, and we're going to go through that right now. So let's have a look at his first kind of main, just normal attack. It's just called Spray, so it's the left click, and he damages opponents and activates plants. We will go over to the right click first, so you can understand what that means. So right click is your seed pod. This fires a seed pod that can be activated by spraying. Now, what you do is you literally press right click, it chucks a little kind of turret-esque plant out, which does damage to enemies as they walk past it. It's this kind of like little lightning bolt which just attaches to them and electrocutes them, I guess, is what I'm going to say, and does damage. But to get it actually grown to do that damage, you need to press your left click to actually do it. So you're watering plants, you're creating a garden to kill. Our gardens are supposed to be about growth, not killing, so yeah, I'll let you deal with that one, but it's pretty fun to do, especially if you're throwing them out there, making sure you're actually getting your aim on so you can actually activate the plants. Is pretty, it takes a little bit of practice, but it gets you used to it. It's pretty fun. And there's a different way to do this when we go over to the upgrades on the left-hand side, and I'll talk about that in a moment. Thrusters, so on shift on most characters, and this is all default commands mostly other than this one here, and I'll talk about that again in a minute. Thrusters on shift, which is where most characters have their most mobile abilities, mostly. This is just a thruster, so thrusters propel you forward and vertically, so you can go up, well, not directly up, but forward and up, if that makes sense, and backwards and left, right. It's quite mobile. You can get over high terrain, you can, direction yourself pretty well. You can get away, you can go around the side of some of the cliffs and go up, so you can be up a level from someone else who's below. He's quite good at getting away and also getting into fights quite quickly. Obviously this does run out, it's not just never ending, but yeah, pretty useful way to evade your enemies as well. Shield burst, which is default is Q. I've got it on my 1 key at the moment. Your seed pods, your plants, and nearby allies gain a temporary overshield. So this is over the top of your health, you gain a shield. Pretty self-explanatory, really good supportive ability, good for yourself, good for your plants if you want to keep them up, because they're quite squishy. So you do need to be thinking about putting those plants out over and over again, as well as, using the shield to actually defend your plants while they do damage, as well as you doing damage. So there's a lot to juggle, potentially, for a good Bugg player. So you got to think about that juggling as well. You're not just reliant upon yourself and your self damage. You have to keep up those turrets. That's what's helping you do the most of your damage as well. Crop dust is a fun ability if you actually combine it well with your thrusters on shift. It's literally like a crop duster. Goes over the field and drops. What is he dropping? A slowing, damaging AoE beneath you. It's different to the what normally goes on crops nowadays, but it's really, really fun to do. You go over the top of an enemy team, press your shift, you get that angle, you drop this damage, this AoE below you as well, and it slows them. It helps your team catch up, especially if you're like ahead of your team. It's really good for like just slowing enemies and just doing some extra damage, and then planting your actual your pods on your right click here, your seed pods, and then actually firing, making sure they come off as well. And as they're slowed, it takes them even longer to get through these pods and through these plants, and they take even more damage. Really good combination with a lot of these abilities here. So that's the basic abilities of Bugg. Let's go and have a look at the upgrades over here. So don't forget, to level up, you've got to kill creatures, hives, you got to get yourself on one of those harvesters, make sure you claim it. So he's building up essence. Essence is experience, and that's how you level up. Now, on the left hand side, you see the upgrades. Now, when you hit each of these levels, you can get an extra benefit, you can get an extra upgrade. We're going to go through those right now. You pick these before you go into the match as well, don't forget. So, level 1, you have the option, onboard diagnostics. So your med kit now regenerates every 30 seconds. Now, medkit is on your G key as a default, and this is what you do primarily to heal. You can gather these up around the map as well. They're small little healing globes that you just pick up, healing pods, and they get stored on you. This caps it at 1 and only gives you 1, but it does regenerate, so you don't have to worry about picking one up all the time. You still can pick up the healing pods as well, which is absolutely fine. Here's the clincher. It also creates a healing area for you, your plants, and your allies. Remember what we were talking about in terms of keeping your plants up? That's quite a nice one. I use this sometimes, but I really do love using early bloomers. So seed pods do not have to be watered in order to be activated. This is really strong because if you have to water your plants, that's an extra key you're pressing, that's an extra thing you're thinking about in terms of doing damage. So if you want to throw these out, you can just throw them out, you don't have to worry about it, and keep thinking about putting those out, putting them ahead of your opponent who might be getting away, or around you if they're trying to engage upon you as well to pressure them away. Really, really good ability, but don't forget that will take away your healing ring and your sustainability for yourself and your team. So it's about, maybe what role you want to play. And I would say that if there is a supportive role in this game, it's this character, which is probably why I like it, because it's very versatile. Let's go over to the final one. High pH mixture. So spray damage increased by 25% as a dot. I've used this a few times and it can ramp up. It's pretty nice. Again, that's an option. This is just for your extra damage on your spray. You still have to water your seed pods, of course. Everything else is the same. So that's the extra 25% damage as a dot. Level 2 is just standard. You just get this. Normal movement increases from 4.5 to 5.5 meters per second. Very much, not much to explain there. Level 3 is again another area where you have some choices. Tend and Protect is your first one, so shield burst amount increases by 50%, so that's from your shield burst ability here. Get an extra 50% on that shield. Protective Husk, so seed pods are now spawned with overshields. So it's very much about your defense in these two traits here. And we're talking about, these being quite squishy. Extra shields, they're not bad, they're pretty nice. I kind of like shield bursts a fair amount more at the moment because it's self-survival. If your plants are dying quite fast and you find that in the game, then maybe that's something to go for. Especially if you're opting to mainly support your plants to do your damage. Then we have, finally, booming blossoms. So plants can be watered until they are overcharged, stunning nearby enemies. That's pretty strong, especially if you're in a team or you're in a 2 and you've got a good way of locking down people. It's really, really good with people like Shikiri, who puts down a big dome. If you put the plants in there with them as well, stun them, lock them down completely. That's quite a nice little combo right there. No weed pesticide. So this crop dust applies vulnerability. So putting that crop dust on your opponents is really, really key for not only for yourself but for your team to do optimal damage, to be most effective that you can. So wherever you can be doing this, you want to be dropping that crop dust as much as possible. Vulnerability, again, it's going to increase your damage and your team's damage against those opponents. Fantastic. Level 5 again is your main and your big aim upgrade. You want to get this before your opponents if you possibly can. High grade biofuel, so grants initial burst of speed when you use thrusters. So getting in or getting out of those situations is going to be a little bit easier to do. You're going to be faster and you notice it in the game. It's a pretty big boost. Evasive, defensive. Then we've got the offensive version of this, which is called Daisy Chain. So plants plant attacks can chain to one additional target. Extra person's going to get hit by your plants. That's pretty good. That's AoE damage right there. Combine Daisy Chain with the Booming Blossoms. Wow, why can't I say that? And the high pH mixture, you've got a big DPS increase right here. It's all about how you want to play. It's all about how you want to do it with Bugg. He is an absolute gem of a character. If you're having trouble in these games, I would say that this is a really good early starter character, especially if you're like me and you're not like massively great at shooting and FPS games and like just shooters in general. He's got a lot of versatility. He's extremely useful for any duo partner, any team, and any Harvester command team with an 8 especially as well. So this is one of those really versatile heroes where you can, if you want to go full damage, you can go full damage. If you want to go support, you can go full support. He's fantastic. Check him out. This is Bugg. A lot of character. I'll see you next time. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Take care and bye-bye.
Let's make Crucible bloom.